All the way from the start, I can feel it in my heart, like all the way from the start.
Hey, what's going on out there? I'm Sean Devine. Hope you all are doing well. Today's video, we are going to be talking about the best beat making setups in 2019 and beyond. I'm going to share with you my first beat making setup, as well as some suggestions for those of you who are just getting started in beat making, or maybe you're an artist and you want to start diving into getting your setup going. Also have some friends along with me today who are going to share their perspectives. St. Joe from soundsandgear.com, as well as Stefan Guy. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to let them share their first beat making setups as well as their suggestions, and then I'll follow and give you guys a little bit of perspective from my side as well.
Hey, what's up? This is St. Joe, soundsandgear.com, here to answer a couple of questions for Sean Devine. Appreciate you having me. The first question is, what did I get started with in terms of production? I messed around with a few different apps on the computer back in the day, like Hip Hop EJ and stuff like that. But the very first piece of equipment I purchased was a Boss DR5. It was a drum machine. This was back in 2001, where drum machines were, still pretty popular. You can go in the store and find them. But the thing about the Boss DR5 was the fact that not only did it have drum sounds, but it also had instrument tracks. So you can actually make pretty much full beats in there. It had kind of like some chord stuff in there. So it was pretty cool. Now, in terms of what I would suggest for those getting started right now, I always like to answer this question by asking the person first, what do they have and what type of music they're trying to make, or how they want to go about making their music. So I'm gonna give a couple of different answers. First, if you're already on an iOS device, iPhone or iPad, and I would definitely suggest starting there with different iOS apps like iMachine, IMPC Pro, GarageBand, Bloxwave, Beatmaker 3, stuff like that, because you can really get a lot of stuff done with those apps. And then some of them also allow you to use plugins. So you can load up, crazy effects like Lo-Fi Dirt from MSX Audio, of course, even instruments from people like gospel musicians, Pure Synth and stuff. So you have like workstations. So you really have plugins that you can expand on if you're using an app that allows you to use that. So that's a really dope way to get started. And if you want to kind of expand that, you can start adding, MIDI controllers, pad controllers and stuff to the iOS device, and you can really get a lot of work done. Plus, it doesn't take up a lot of real estate. So if you already have something like that, or if you're looking to not take up a lot of space, I would definitely suggest that. Now, if you're more going for the computer setup, but you still want kind of some hands-on control, for me, I still feel like Machine from Native Instruments is a great way to go, because it gives you kind of the best of both worlds, and then you also get a lot of software and sounds with it when you purchase it. Not just the Machine library, but they give you a lot of stuff in terms of, Complete and some of their other plugins and things like that. So I still feel like that is a great way to go. Now, if you're somebody who prefers kind of the standalone workflow, maybe you don't really want to work with the computer or anything like that. For me, at this point, I still feel like Akai has that kind of on lock with the MPCs, whether it be the MPC Live, the Force, or the MPC X. I feel like that gives you a great standalone workflow if that's what you're looking for. But maybe you already have a Mac or something like that, and you already have GarageBand on there for free, then use that. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's really use what you can, use what you have access to. And the more that you start, making music and finding your workflow, you'll kind of figure out what exactly fits what you're trying to do. And maybe you can upgrade or downgrade or just add to what you already have. So hopefully this kind of helps somebody out and inspires you, but there's a lot of options. So the main point of my answer is there's something out there for everybody, and there's no reason for you not to be creative. I'll see y'all later. Peace.
Hey, what's up guys, Stefan here. Firstly, thank you Sean for having me on your channel. It's always a pleasure to collaborate with you. And secondly, apologies for the sound. I've just moved into a new apartment with no acoustic treatment, but we'll get on to that. Sean asked me what my first piece of gear, or what my first setup was when I first started out making music. It was simply just a Yamaha DJX. That is it. The Yamaha DJX had a sequencer built in, And that's what I first started using. I was making beats with the sounds built into the Yamaha DJX and sequencing straight into the Yamaha DJX. It wasn't until my older brother said to me, Stefan, was like, bro, you know we have Reason downstairs, Reason by Propellerhead. So then I moved on to making music with Reason, still with the Yamaha DJX, but that was my setup. Keyboard and my DAW. Since then, I've gone through many different setups. I've had bigger setups in a dedicated space with outboard gear and loads of different pieces of gear, all the way to a bedroom studio which still had quite a bit of gear, but obviously I couldn't fit as much in to my bedroom, where I'm in an apartment. And I've almost gone full circle because now I've stripped it back completely again. And my main usage is a laptop and a keyboard. Pretty much my setup that I had with my Yamaha DJX and Reason. I've also got a Machine MK3, the micro one. In all honesty, I just wanted to strip it back in this apartment because I understood that, to be honest, I don't need all of those bits. For the music that I'm making right now, I can afford to just have a small setup. And for a lot of you, I think that that's the same. Assuming you have a computer, whether that's a desktop computer, a laptop, or an iPad, all you really need is a MIDI controller, anything from 2 octaves to 4 octaves. Mine right here is 3 octaves, and that's why I like it. It's just a happy medium. It's nice and small on my desk, taking up a little real estate, but then it's enough keys for me to actually play. It also has a port for a sustain pedal, which for me is a must as a keyboard player. But there's many other options out there. This will set you back around $100, but there are cheaper keyboards. Obviously the smaller keyboards with 2 octaves are going to be cheaper in most cases. And then after that, a pair of headphones. I've got the Beyerdynamic 770 Pros right here, and the 80 ohms one. And most of the time when I'm just beat making and I'm not recording audio, because I only really record audio for YouTube, I will just plug these straight into my MacBook. And these are 80 ohms. A MacBook can drive these fine. I can get good volume out of these headphones. But why do I say headphones over studio monitors? Well, this is my situation. For me personally, I'm in an apartment. You might be in an apartment too. And if you want to be an upstanding citizen like myself, then you don't want to create too much noise. Headphones are a great option. Plus, if your room sounds like trash like mine, then, there's no point spending a lot of money on a great pair of studio monitors, because what you're hearing is going to be highly altered by the sound of the room. So for me, headphones for now are a great option. So we've got a computer, a keyboard, and a pair of headphones. That's enough to make music. Believe me, that is enough. That's all you need to make music. All of your sounds and effects are going to be in your computer. And that's where you want to invest most of your money, in getting a digital audio workstation that you work well with, and potentially getting more sounds and effects later on down the road. And that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you found this useful. I hope it was comprehensive enough. Again, my name is Stefan. Thank you again, Sean, for having me on your channel, and I'll catch you guys around. You can find me in the comment section as well. If you have any questions, I'll be there. All right, guys, take care.
As far as my first beat making setup, I ended up getting a Korg Electribe EM1, which was a groove box. The Electribe had 2 synth parts, 4 drum parts, 16 step sequencer. Very, very simple, but it was the first kind of dive into being able to sequence beats, which was just so cool to me. And I had Sony Acid, which is a loop-based sequencer. And then I got Reason 1.0, which was a really good step for me, because Reason has this visual sort of style where you're dealing with hardware. So you're actually wiring things, you're learning about signal flow. And I was also getting my hands into synthesis by, using like the Subtractor and some of those other synths that were in there. It helped me to learn synthesis very quickly. So Reason may be a software that those of you out there who want to, kind of start at the ground and learn some of that stuff about studio signal flow and the way that all that stuff is going to be routed, synthesis may be a good idea for you. As far as what I would recommend in 2019 and beyond, if you can pick up a used MacBook Pro, and then, you can start with the free GarageBand that is included on that. And then you can work your way up into Logic, which is what I use. Stefan uses Logic as well. But if you're a PC guy, get a used PC, go for FL Studio. In terms of, the value packed in those DAWs, I don't think there's a better choice out there, especially starting out. The MacBook that I had before this one was running Omnisphere, all the output stuff, all the newest synths and Logic, sold it used for like $300 or $350. So just to tell you, you can get something incredibly capable that is going to, set you up for years and years. I've just found that making beats, I'm very location specific in terms of inspiration a lot of times. So my surroundings have, influenced a lot of the beats that I've made over the years, and having a laptop, being able to take that setup anywhere, even when I'm in the bigger studios working on mixes or whatever, I've got my laptop. You're going to be able to infinitely expand the environment that you're making beats versus you get one of these keyboards, you're pretty much locked in. Some of the newer stuff is kind of moving in the direction of being more software based, but I just wouldn't recommend starting with one of these pieces of hardware, especially in the landscape of technology these days. This stuff is really fun. Joe talked a little bit about it. Stefan talked a bit about it. We all started on hardware, and hardware is tactile. So there's something very different about reaching up here and controlling a synth, making a patch here. Obviously, a lot of the software nowadays is changing the way that we're getting more tactile with it. But just to tell you guys that that's really it for me, is just having the hands-on is cool. I am making more and more beats on my phone. Just to tell you some of the software I have on that, Core Gadget. You can do everything with Core Gadget in terms of beat making. Beat Hawk from UVI, also a good one. All right, y'all. So I hope you enjoyed hearing about our first beat making setups, but also I hope you got some perspective in terms of maybe sending you in the right direction. Joe and Stefan, thanks for being on here with me. If you guys have any questions for any of us, feel free to leave a comment below. If you learned anything in the video, please like, subscribe, and consider sharing. We'll talk to you soon.